you are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Right, welcome back to Knowledge in the Word. Well, they are at it constantly, so continue to go to Rumble. We thank you for subscribing. Wanted to catch up with some of you younger ones that it may be your first voting time. Wanted you to hear something. Now that we know that the left and the loony Dems, they are based from Jacobinism, Dem society. Do your study on that. I can only share so much. I try to present things for you to your own. There's a lot of things that are happening right now. Jesus talked about beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. The right is considered Christian conservative majority, okay? Well, there's a lot of these guys that claim they're Christians that don't have a problem being a warmonger. I think Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers. These men are warmongers, and this man wants to be your president. I encourage you to watch this. Now, this is, I guess Glenn Beck this week was hosting all of the pro-life and the Republicans that are running to be your president, and the one female, which was Nikki Haley. She's a globalist, New World Order woman, too. She was plainly asked, who did the pipeline blow up, right, for Russia? Well, everyone knows Seymour Hersh did an in-depth documentary about it. Great, he's been a real journalist for 30, 40 years or more, talks about corruption on the planet and governments. Well, and then we got the clip, if you showed that one, you'd know. Joe Biden very clearly said, if they continue and get into Ukraine, that Nord Stream pipeline would go. Well, this Tucker, since God has kind of set him free from being shackled, he says he's begun to read his Bible again on this whole thing, so he's back to the New Testament. And so he's really getting to push Mike Pence, Trump's vice president. Now, straight up, I think the guy's I think he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. We'll just say that. Watch this piece now. This man mostly declares himself to be a Christian, a conservative. He spews a lot of the same rhetoric that George Bush did. Oh, yes. He's a Christian, too. How did he win against his skull and bones brother, John Kerry, which is making his rounds again? He wants to get in your pocket, too. So all of these leaders are very interesting because they speak and act like they're saying truth to you. Watch this question now that Tucker actually asked Mike Pence, as a Christian, about this war. That why are we over there? Again, remember, see, in 2015, Barack Obama was caught on record speaking to, I think it was Victoria Nuland. I think it was Nuland, a woman that was over there as an ambassador, and they were overthrowing the doggone government. It's one of the most corrupt governments on the planet. So why is these Republicans all behind this war also? Now, he had DeSantis on there. DeSantis is a little smoother. But you got to watch these men. There is no end in sight. This is another Vietnam. In the book of Revelation, I want to read this to you, and then I want to play this clip. And you make your own decision and watch. And it talks about to mark those that are walking unruly. Believe me, murdering people and taking that when you still have homeless men and women in your own country that you sent and fought wars for, that these Republicans still are warmongers, handful or not. Revelation 13:11, I want to read this to you. I throw this out to you as those that do know the Bible and study it. Nobody's got a real complete, clear teaching on Revelation. You study it, look at it, understand the symbolism. Talks about beasts. Beasts are governments and men. It's the same thing. Mark of the beast, all of this. We're talking CBDC now, central bank digital currency. That sounds another like a mark of a beast. Well, government of America is a beast. 13:11, I ask you to consider this. I'm not sure that it is. It fits it, though, and I'll throw it out to you. And then listen to this wolf in sheep's clothing. 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Complete. It looks like a real sweet creature. America. It talks like a dragon. Do you know why we're in this war? Because we continue to break what took place with Gorbachev and Reagan in the 80s about NATO. No more adding to North American trade. No more. We've added over 17 countries in the last 20 years. Just added Finland again. New World Order, Mystery World Babylon, Mother of Harlots. I present to you that we very well probably are this beast. We speak like, oh, we're so good, we come here to give you freedom. We'll take your people, we'll take your minerals, just like Saul did. We trust in warfare, not God. If he's a Christian man, why isn't he praying? Why wouldn't he pray for Russians? Cluster bombs, killing people constantly. Okay, verse 12. This beast does this. Now, a lot of people teach this as Antichrist. It's the spirit of Antichrist. You got that right. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. What's the one before us? These are governments. Go read Daniel. It finishes with Rome to the legs, and then there's 10 kings or toes. That's Europe, that's us. That's now. That's the end of time. That's us. Rome still is a big part of this. Vatican Rome still a part of this. And he exercised all the power of the first beast. I'm saying this is America. I believe it is. I'm throwing it out to you. Before him, and causes the earth and then that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Study the Catholic Church. Went out for years, came back, revived back into Rome. They've been healed. And he doeth. Now this same beast, I'm saying that's us. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. America did what? Nagasaki, Japan, calling fire down from heaven. Wow, who can make war with that beast of America? We've been in this power trip because of this money system. 13s are all over that. It's in the 13th chapter. In the 18th verse, you're going to be given a mark. You're in this time frame. Now listen to this fella here. A Christian man, Mike Pence.
Foreign policy, which are definitely the mainstream of Republican views, as far as I can tell. You recently met with Zelensky, according to news reports. And I'm wondering if during that meeting, as a prominent Christian leader, which you are in addition to your political views, you broached the question of his treatment of Christians within Ukraine. The Zelensky government has raided convents, arrested priests, has effectively banned a denomination, a Christian denomination, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church within Ukraine, has persecuted Christians. And I wonder if you raised that with him.
I did raise the issue when we were there. And I raised it with the leader of the Orthodox Church when I was visiting Kyiv, and asked him about concerns about religious liberty. He assured me that the Zelensky government in Ukraine was respecting religious liberty, even while recognizing that there were very small elements of the Russian Orthodox Church that were being utilized for the purpose of advancing the Russian cause.
Bad church because they're Russians. Follow this wolf now. They can turn this on Americans. Obama had a clergy group to turn Christians in. My point is, you don't need to be fighting and warring when you still have homeless people, and he confronts him on this. Anyway.
Ukraine, and that they were taking steps to hold them to account. But the leader of the church at St. Michael's in Kyiv told me personally that he believed that the Zelensky government was respecting religious liberty. And I must tell you, other than the sanctity of life, there's no higher priority in my life.
He switches right away to abortion rights and all of this. Bushes and all these men continue to deceive Christians because they say one thing and murder other people. Wake up, people. This man is to be watched out for. He also, if you watch the whole piece, in the beginning, he was asked by Tucker again. He had that choice, and Trump knew that he could have stopped that election that time. He made himself look good in the sense that not one person should be able to overthrow an election. It wasn't overthrowing an election. The election was overthrown. I think we all know that by now. Oh, and thank you, Debbie. I want to shout out to Debbie in Georgia, my friend. Thank you for supporting us. God bless you. Continue to fight the good fight, and we'll see you next week.